Welcome back. 911 is the number we all know to dial in an emergency situation, but there are some things you can do to help the dispatcher on the other end. Here to talk more about it is Amanda Cornellier, a dispatcher with the North Adams, Massachusetts Police Department. Good morning, Amanda.
Good morning.
All right, so we all know that 911 is something you dial when you're in an emergency situation, but we were talking earlier, you're saying that some people don't understand what an emergency is.
That's true. They don't. Some people feel that there's an emergency, but based on police department's view of things, it's not emergency in our eyes. Like, for example, people who lock their keys in their car, they'll call 911 because their keys are locked in the car. Right. That's not really an emergency in our eyes. If you've locked your keys in the car and your child's in the car, that's more along the lines of an emergency. Yeah,
so, you know, while we're on the subject, what are some of the really weirdest phone calls have you had in the night with people calling 911 for no reason at all?
I've had people call me about their water being out on 911, their electricity being out. We've just had all different types of calls that people block up the 911 lines because we have 4 landlines, which is called from a home phone, and 4 cell phone lines. And we're trained to immediately call, or actually, correction, I'm sorry, answer the 911 lines over anything else.
Absolutely.
And so
there is an etiquette when it comes to 911. You don't just call because, you know, your dog is or your cat's stuck on the tree. You call for an emergency. And then when you actually do call, there is an etiquette that you must apply when you're talking to the dispatcher.
Yes, the most helpful thing when you call 911 is knowing where you are, being able to give an address, your name, your phone number, and the best information in regards to what the situation is at the time. Because the better information and the more information you can provide helps the police department, the ambulance service, the fire departments.
And we were just talking about it. True emergencies only. Life and death situations. And obviously there are situations where, you know, it's not life and death, but it is an emergency. So do not block the 911 calls for that.
Yes, such calls as like fight calls, burglaries in the process, people who are ill, things along those lines.
And you know, make your house number visible. How important is that? I mean, is that, you know, not just for people who are just driving around and trying to find your house. This is important for fire safety and things like that.
It's very, very important for police response, fire response, and ambulance response. If you're in a dire emergency and you don't have visible house numbers, they're going to have a hard time finding you.
So how many, I mean, tell us a couple of things. So you've had situations where you couldn't find someone's house for real?
Yes.
And how, you know, and moments are critical when it comes to emergencies, like 2 seconds, 5 seconds.
Yes, very critical.
Heart attacks or whatever it might be, very critical. So house number, very important. How do people are supposed to talk to you guys on the phone? You know, I mean, sometimes they're frantic, and of course you can understand that they're upset, but clear is very important, isn't it?
Yes, we do get callers that are upset, and trying to calm yourself, and also part of our job is to try and calm the caller to get the information to provide to the emergency service that needs to respond.
All right, so best practice is call only in emergencies. And we were talking earlier, I mean, do you think there should be a charge for people who call for, you know, just stupid reasons, if I may?
I think there should be. There are people who do call, and Massachusetts does have charges for people, which it would be something along the lines of prank calling, and they can be charged for that, for abusing 911.
All right, so you think there should be a charge for that? Well, might not be a bad idea.
Might not be.
All right, Amanda, dispatcher at North Adams Police Department, thank you so much for being with us.
Well, thank you for having me.
And good luck. Hopefully we won't get those phone calls in the middle of the night.
Maybe.
We'll be right back. Stay with us.